First, let's take a look at the tools we're going to be using today to make this a smooth and trouble-free string change. First things first, we have a mat or any kind of protective pad to make sure that our instrument is safe and isn't getting banged around. We also have a neck rest. Something like this can be used for guitars, ukuleles, mandolins, or many other types of stringed instruments. We have a string winder. These are very useful tools to help you wind strings onto your tuning posts quickly and efficiently. We have a set of snips. These are going to be very useful for cutting the strings precisely in the locations that we want them to, both on the bridge side and on the neck side. Now, these are not strictly necessary, but I find them useful. This is a set of flat pliers, and we're going to use them to apply extra tension in certain places where we want to make sure a knot is really nice and tight. Last but not least, we have this tuner. Now, there are a variety of brands of tuner that will work great to make sure your instrument is in tune. I like this one. Most important thing is to make sure that it's accurate and that it has padding so that it's not going to cause damage to the finish of your instrument as you clip it to the peg head. Today we're going to show you a technique to restring your soprano or concert ukulele. There will come a point where you need to change the strings on your ukulele. Whether you've broken one or they're just getting a little bit old, there's always a good opportunity to reinvigorate the tone of your instrument. The first step in changing the strings on your ukulele is going to be removing the old strings. Now maybe you broke one and so you've only got 3 strings left to take back off, but we're going to go ahead and take our winder. We're going to loosen the strings. We don't need to loosen them all the way, just enough to give them a little bit of slack so that the shock of the strings being cut off doesn't do any damage to the instrument. Once I've got all 4 strings slacked enough, I'm going to go ahead and take my wire cutters. I'm going to go ahead and cut these strings behind my hand while also keeping my hand on top. This way, I'm going to ensure that they don't go flying off anywhere potentially dangerous. So I'll hold the string right here, put my hand down, and cut in between. This way, both pieces of the string will stay handy. I'm going to go ahead and remove this end of the string from the tuning post. And it's pretty self-explanatory. You could just unwind it a few times. And once you get close to the end, go ahead and pull it loose using these flat pliers. It tends to be a very useful way to do that. You may need to push the string back through the tuning post a little bit in order to give yourself the slack to remove it from the tuner. Once you've got the strings off your instrument, this is a good opportunity to go ahead and oil up the fingerboard or polish up the frets if that's something you want to do as part of your normal maintenance. It's hard to do it with the strings on the instrument, so this is a great chance to go ahead and do those little touches that are going to make your instrument last and be comfortable for years to come. When we're ready to begin restringing, we're going to go ahead and start with our G string. This is the string that is closest to the player here on this side of the instrument. I'm going to go ahead and remove the string very carefully from its package. I'm going to inspect it for any kinks or knots. The only knots that we want in this string are the ones that we put in there ourselves. This string looks good. So, taking the free end, I'm going to go ahead and tie a simple knot in it. This knot is going to be secured here at the end of the bridge. I like to leave about 1.5 to 2 inches of space here at the end of the free tail of the string, and I'll take my flat pliers to go ahead and pull that knot nice and tight. On the skinny strings, 1 knot may not be quite enough, so I like to go ahead and double them up. So I'm going to go ahead and tie a second knot exactly in the same location as the first one. Once again, I can take my pliers and pull that knot nice and tight. Once you're certain that you have a good tight knot, you can go ahead and take your snips and cut the free end of the string. I like to cut it maybe 1/8 of an inch away from the knot. Far enough that if there is any slippage, the knot should hold, but that we're not going to end up with a free tail sticking out from behind the bridge here. First thing I'll do, once I have my nice knotted string, I'm going to go ahead and tuck this knot underneath the bridge. It should slide right into the pocket that's meant to hold it. In order to prevent this knot from falling out from the bridge here, I'm going to go ahead and apply a slight amount of tension as I go ahead and pull it into place in order to secure it here at the tuning post. You can see I'm not putting a whole lot of tension on there, but just enough to make sure it doesn't fall out. I can hold the string in position with either of my fingers. I'm right-handed, so I'm going to use my left finger to secure the string at the nut. At this point, I'm going to take the free end of the string and wrap it one time around the tuning post. While holding the string tight in position, I can go ahead and put the free end through the hole in the post and pull it tight. For extra security, I can go ahead and come back around the post and loop it through once more. At this point, I want to make sure that the string is resting in such a way that when I start winding the string up, this end of the string is going to wind from underneath the free tail of the string. This way, we're going to create a self-locking knot. This will help prevent some slippage as the string tunes up to pitch. Once I have the string secure here at the peg, I'm going to go ahead and take my winder and begin tightening it up to pitch. Loop, loop, loop. Now, right at this point is an opportunity to make sure that everything is going along correctly. Before I continue beyond the overlap of these strings, I want to make sure that this free end is resting on top of any of the subsequent winds. So I may hold it up like this in position as I go ahead and continue winding the string in place. At this point, all subsequent winds should end up in the right position. Once I suspect that my string is getting close to pitch, I'm going to go ahead and apply my tuner and get it pretty close. In this case, since it's a concert ukulele, we're going to start with a G. Now, this string may appear to be perfectly in tune, but we know that ukulele strings are going to stretch. So I'll leave it where it is for now, and as we go back through at the end of this process, we'll ensure that the entire instrument is perfectly in tune. At this point, I can go ahead and snip the free end of my string here. So, using my snips and being sure not to damage the peg head of the instrument, I'm going to come close to the tuner and cut off any excess. We'll go ahead and repeat that process for the third, second, and first strings as well. Now that we've replaced all the strings on our ukulele and each string has been tuned up to pitch at least once during its initial tuning, we can go in and fine-tune the pitch of each string. Starting with the G string, I'm going to go ahead and bring that right up to pitch. C, E, and A. Now, part of what makes ukuleles so fun to play is that the strings are flexible and they do tend to stretch a little bit. So it may take a few hours or a few minutes of playing in order to stabilize your ukulele strings. Once they're stably in tune, you should be able to enjoy worry-free playing for many, many months.